Hi.
Good morning.
This is an episode of Chamber Chatter with the one and only Lisa Moore. I'm so excited to welcome you into our Emery's Rock Realty studio.
Thank you.
Finally.
I'm so excited.
I know. So we're going to dive right in. For those of you that don't know, this is Chamber Chatter. This is the North Tampa Bay Chambers podcast. I'm Hope Kennedy, the very proud president and CEO of the Chamber, also the Chamber Chatter podcast host. We are just going to have a conversation and just kind of talk about you.
Okay.
Because I know you've been in sales
Yes.
your entire career. And there's so much that all of us can learn from that. Then we're going to talk about your community involvement.
Okay.
And how are you the Energizer Bunny? And of course, we'll have to talk about the New York accent that's very strong even after, 20 years?
31 years.
31 years.
31 years.
You've been here. So Lisa Moore is the director of sales for the Hilton Garden Inn, the Hampton Inn, and then you just added a third one in Orlando, right?
That is correct. It's the Hilton Garden Inn, Orlando East, UCF.
UCF. And so that is, those three hotels are owned by a company, right? So all
Yes.
hotels are owned essentially by a company.
Correct.
So kind of talk through that with us about the ownership and how this location got here. Because I got a little intel on that.
Absolutely. So it's Emerald Hospitality. They're out of Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio. They own about 30 hotels, but they just brought on a new company that is part owner as well. It's called Schulte Hospitality. They own about 280 hotels. I want to say 9 of them in the Tampa Bay area.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So pretty
that's
nice.
Exciting to add a new group to the portfolio here in this area.
Absolutely. We actually just went to their conference in Atlanta, which was really nice. It was a mix of different hotels. It wasn't all 200, of course, because we can't all fit in there. But it was the director of sales and the general managers for every hotel. It was nice to be a part of a bigger group.
Right.
It's nice. I've been with Emerald for 7 years. Can you believe it?
Well, you've been there since the hotel opened.
Absolutely.
Which was 7 years ago. And that's hard to believe because for a very long time, I think you were hotel number 3?
3, yes.
Because first the Hampton and then the Holiday Inn.
And then the Hyatt. We were number 4.
Hyatt, okay.
Yeah, we were number 4.
So you and Hyatt were coming out of the ground essentially at the same time.
Pretty much, about 6 months difference. But yeah, I've been there since it opened. But believe it or not, the general manager has been there 5 months after we opened. Our executive housekeeper has been there before me, so she's been there 7.5 years. And also 2 of our supervisors have been there since we've opened. One of our chefs have been there since we opened. We have such a great crew that it's amazing to see how close we are and how well we've stayed together.
That is so unheard of.
It is.
In hospitality, for people to stay that long and not to have that continual transition of leadership, but that gives you staying power. And I'm sure your customers and your guests appreciate seeing familiar faces every time they come back.
Absolutely. That's one of our selling points.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. People are amazed, not just them as our banquet staff. I forgot to mention them. They've been there since we've opened. I hired them. So it's just amazing to see how well we work as a team.
And you guys have been through a lot as a team. I mean, you opened, and shortly thereafter, we had the pandemic.
Absolutely.
And COVID, and things changed for all of us throughout that, and travelers quit coming.
Yep.
And so it's definitely been a fun 7 years. And before that, you've always been in hospitality sales.
I have. I went to school for it. I graduated with a 2-year degree in Westchester Community College up in New York.
Up in New York, in case you didn't get the accent. We always have to bring that out because everybody goes, "Where are you from?"
I know, they do. Either Boston, I get a lot of Boston,
Really?
believe it or not, or Long Island. And if you know New York, you don't step over those borders
Right.
because, once you're in New York, you stay there.
And you're from which part?
I am from the Bronx.
The Bronx.
Yes, I grew up in the Bronx. I grew up on Pelham Parkway. I don't know if you guys know the Warrior movie. That was actually filmed in my backyard.
Really? Cool.
So it's really cool to see, the changes
Yeah.
that have been there. I went back about 2 years ago and knocked on my doors for my neighbors, and believe it or not, my neighbors are still there.
That is a really interesting thing about New York. You can go back and it pretty much looks the same every time you go, and people stay generations and generations in the same household.
They do.
So that's really cool. My mom's from New York, so we go quite a bit as well. But
I miss the pizza.
Yeah.
The pizza's my thing. But I did find Amici's Pizza here. Here in Wesley Chapel, they make an amazing pizza, and I go there. It's in New York.
It's
New York.
It's New York.
Uh-huh,
Okay,
it is.
Good. There's a little plug for Amici's Pizza. I don't think they're chamber members, but maybe we can get them with this conversation.
Love
'Cause
to.
everybody's looking for a good New York pizza. We see that all the time on the Facebook page.
Absolutely.
People looking for it. So in sales, it's a daunting word. But I learned very quickly in my career that everyone's in sales.
Absolutely.
Everyone's in sales. You're always selling either yourself, your product, your business, your passion. You're in sales.
Yep.
So, but when it's in your title, I think that's a little more, for me, daunting.
It is.
But tell us how you've come to be so good, because you're at the top of your game.
Thank you.
In sales. Well, it's not just me. It's you've been recognized from your companies that you've worked for, from Hilton, for all of these things, and it's authentic. You're not out throwing stuff at people saying, buy mine, buy mine.
Right.
So talk a little bit about your process and how you've gotten to the top of your sales game.
Sure. So with the pandemic, I'll give you a little story about that. We were open maybe 6 months before the pandemic hit, unfortunately. Well, not even 6 months, probably like 3 months, because we opened in October, now that I think about it. And just trying to figure out a way to keep that hotel open, because my company did close a couple of their hotels. And I really didn't want that to happen to the new hotel. So I just, with my out of the box thinking, I'm like, there's got to be some construction people here. We're building big here in Wesley Chapel, and there's got to be something. So I found a tree company that actually was working in the area and was staying at somewhere else. And I called them. I saw their trucks around. I called them and I just said, hey, I got this beautiful brand new hotel. What can I do to get you here? I wound up getting them for 3 months, so that saved me.
Wow.
It's just the partnerships and the relationships that I have with my clients. I've been in this market for 30 years, in this market for 28 of those 30 years. I mean, I started at Applebee's on 56th Street on Fowler as their training manager. I opened many of their restaurants and then moved over to the Museum of Science and Industry, and I worked there for 6.5 years as their restaurant manager. And my food and beverage director and I were like, why don't we start catering up? Nobody comes to the Museum of Science and Industry during school time. What can we do to make money for this nonprofit? So we started this catering up. It was him and I. He was the chef. I was the setup person. It went from 10 people to 2,000 people. So we wound up having to hire a full staff, which was amazing.
So that's just you thinking steps ahead.
Absolutely.
And that's in any business. You can't be thinking about today. You have to be thinking about years from now, or what can we do to grow? What steps can we take today to grow for the future and have longevity? And
absolutely.
And that's really cool story to hear how you grew that.
Absolutely. And it's funny because sales used to be you knock on people's doors and walk in.
Right.
These days, it's nothing like that. It's the trust and the partnership and the relationship. And, I say I'm in sales, but like you said, I don't throw my stuff at them. I become friends, partners, relationships, see what I could do to help them and reach out to them first. And then they trust me to be their partner. And I've worked with many clients here that I've worked with, and they won't work with anybody else. And I keep telling them, well, you can work with my sales coordinator. She's okay, I promise. And they're like, no, it's got to go through you. And I'm like, no, I understand. I totally.
And that's a testament to the work that you do.
Yeah.
And people coming back that's the biggest compliment you can get.
Absolutely. And it's funny because I started my career on Fowler in a hotel that actually got knocked down just
Oh.
recently. It's where they put those not dorms, but their student housing.
Yes.
That hotel was 404 sleeping rooms.
Wow,
It
that's
had
huge.
3,800 square feet of meeting space. And I went in there, to be honest with you, as just the sales manager to start. That's where I started my career. And they moved me up pretty quick. I became a senior sales manager and then realized it's time to move on and get to a brand new hotel. So I opened a brand new hotel on Fletcher Avenue, and that has changed names as well already. But it was an eye opening, and then Marriott came after me on Fletcher, and I was like, all right, let's do this.
Let's do this. So you kind of accidentally got into hospitality for hotels and
Correct.
and sleeping rooms and different
Yeah.
from the catering, but then you had that experience of the catering that kind of helps you give a full package.
Absolutely. And, I got into the sleeping room side of things. I was like, what did I do to myself? I'm going to be bored. I need energy, I mean, catering, you were there. Literally, I worked at Larry Park Zoo, too, for 2.5 years. And after I left, they hired 5 people for my position. And I'm like, why did you hire them when I was here? Like this,
Yeah.
I loved working for the zoo. Believe it or not, it really, talking about out of the box, I used to do 50 weddings a year there. And I used to have an owl that would fly down and bring the ring. And it was just something different,
That is really cool.
isn't it?
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just something different.
Yeah. Who would think to have their wedding at a zoo?
Nobody. But the love garden that they have there is amazing. They keep up. The flowers are beautiful. I mean, it's just amazing. People think, oh my God, I'm going to smell the animals. It's so far away, you don't even smell the animals. Come in a different way.
Look at you. You're still selling.
I am
sir.
it's a beautiful place, and I would still be there honestly if I didn't have my kids when they were younger. Every night, every weekend, and my kids played soccer, so I wanted to be there for them.
So now you are somewhat of an empty nester. Sort of. We still have that one lingering, but for the most part, you're self-sufficient.
Absolutely,
You are everywhere.
I am.
And how do you do it? Because I think I have a busy schedule, and then I look at you, and then I look at you on social media, and you're everywhere. You have been like the most amazing champion for our chamber, and I
Oh.
do want to just touch on that real quick because you have been the biggest cheerleader for our organization. I mean, we went through a complete change and shift from the parties, pageants, and parades to where we are now today. And it's because of members like you and you specifically bringing people to the chamber. So I just want to make sure that I publicly thank you for
Oh,
that because
thank
you've
you.
been such a cheerleader for me.
And I feel the same way for you. Because remember, I was part of the New Tampa Chamber, and it started to really kind of die down. The leaders weren't strong enough, I felt. So I kind of kept my name in there, but I didn't go to as many events. And then when you took over, I'm like, let me try. And I always say this, Hope has adopted me, and I've never stopped coming since you've been here. So I want to thank you for all of the stuff that you've done for us.
Well, it's a relationship. Again, going back to, I think every conversation that I've had in this room so far has been about relationships and about building those relationships and tapping into those relationships. And really, it strengthens our entire ecosystem. It's not just
Absolutely.
one business. And that is the cool thing about this community is everybody is here to support each other.
Yep.
And I think that contributes to your willingness to be engaged. So you're Rotary, you're on
Correct.
my chamber board,
Correct.
you're on the YMCA board,
Correct.
and what else?
Metropolitan Ministries as an ambassador.
Oh my gosh,
Yes.
girl, those are all really a lot of work.
They are. But you know what? It keeps me busy. My work, my day-to-day work stuff is exciting because I love my clients, but I've been doing it for so long that I can do it anywhere. I can take my computer and I can sit in this office. I can sit at Starbucks. I always hire a great sales coordinator to grow. I want them to grow. And that's why I've had a revolving door, not because they want to leave me, but because they've grown and it's ready for the next step.
So you're like the little incubator mama
Correct.
of sales. And then, but that's great because then you are teaching them what you've learned throughout all of your mistakes that you've made. And then you're giving them a path forward to a career. And they won't forget that.
And I will never hold them back. No. Ever. If somebody came to me and said, Lisa, I love working here, but I got this opportunity to be a sales manager, I'm like, go for it.
Go for it. You want me to write you a letter?
Exactly.
Let me help you. And,
absolutely.
And I think, back when I started my career, that wasn't always how it was.
Nope.
We had to fight and we had to crawl and we had to claw our way to a seat at the table. And one of the things that we've wanted to do here at the Chamber is make sure that we make space at the table because we want the next generation. I'm not intimidated by them.
No.
I want them.
I'm the same way.
Come on. Yeah. Come on. Let me show you. Come with me. Let me give you all of the information that I've learned so that you have a better foundation and you can be better.
Right. And it's funny you say that because I remember being younger and going, oh my God, if I teach somebody this, are they going to take my job?
Yes.
And now I'm like, here you go.
How would you like it? Let me help you. And so part of what we've done here at the Chamber, is focus on building up the next generation so that we can continue on what we've started.
Absolutely.
And not to be intimidated by that. I can't say that that's everywhere.
No,
it's
not.
There's
You're
still
right.
still a mindset around certain industries that, oh, no, I'm not going to teach you this.
Yeah,
because
they're still scared.
You'll take my job. No, take it. Put your stamp on it. Make it amazing.
Well, talking about that, and that's the reason why they gave me the Hilton Garden Inn in Orlando. There's a young girl there. She went to school in Orlando for the hospitality program. Wonderful, wants to learn, and I have just grown her within the 7 months. I'm very proud to say that they are RevPAR. They were number one in the whole portfolio for Emerald on growing.
That's
already,
awesome.
And I'm like, look what we could do.
Look what you can do. Mm-hmm. So, what is your methodology when you take on a job like that? It's almost mentoring, but it's in a different capacity. So what's your kind of methodology? And you say, just let me show you.
So I have a nice regional book that I had put together because in my last company, I oversaw 6 hotels. At first, they were all in Florida, and then 2 in Jersey, and then 1 in Atlanta.
Oh, that's when you were traveling a lot.
Correct.
We didn't see her for a few years.
Correct, yes. And I just put a book together and said, you know what, this is going to be a book, and I just keep growing it because obviously things have changed. We use AI now for a lot, believe it or not, in sales. And I just keep growing it, and I take that book and I make copies of stuff for them. I do it with them. I go out on sales calls with her. We make appointments. I show her the partnership and the relationships on how it works and who she wants to talk to. And just an example, I went to the Chamber in Orlando about a month ago, and there was a lady there. And they do it a little different because we talk about Chamber being different everywhere.
Every Chamber, if you've seen one, you've seen one.
Exactly. And their coffee socials are they have a presentation, and then you have 30 seconds to speak on what you do and who you are. And I said, see that lady right there? You want to meet her. And she says, well, why? I said, well, she is with an organization that brings in people. So you want her to be your best friend. And she met her and was able to book a piece of business in April. That was incredible. And I'm like, this is what we do and why we do it. And I get excited. I'm old school. I still ring bells when we...
Yeah, I've got a bell in the front. When we get a new member, we ding the bell.
That's exactly what we do.
And, I guess it's because we want to celebrate those victories as well.
Absolutely.
But, I tell members when they join the Chamber, I said, don't be afraid to tell us who you want to meet. If you don't know who your ideal customer is, let me show you how to figure that out.
Absolutely.
Because you know who yours is. So you can go around a room really quick and figure out, okay, I need business travelers because we're going to have vacation travelers. So business travelers, who is a corporate partner of the Hilton brand?
Yep.
Who can I go find? And, your story with the outlet mall is always one of my favorite because it's just cool, the power of the chamber. But that's how it works.
Yep.
Don't be afraid to say, okay, I'm looking for a company that has 2 employees, that is in construction, that they're going to move, just say who you
Want to meet?
actually know who you want to meet.
Absolutely.
Not everybody's an ideal client.
No.
And then say it.
Absolutely.
And don't be afraid to ask, hey, do you know so-and-so? Because I would really like to connect with them.
Well, that's why I come to the orientations, not for me, not for my business, but to help connect the members here, because my passion is being on the board as the membership chair. That's my passion.
Yeah.
I don't come to orientation to say, hey, I'm here with the Hilton Garden Inn. I always tell them, I'm here for you to meet other people. Let me introduce you. I've been in this market forever. Is there somebody, if you want to go to an event, if you're shy, I'm totally not shy.
No.
I'm the outgoing person. I'll introduce you to whoever.
And
So.
again, I think that's the super cool thing about our organization. Like, you started out as an ambassador and then moved to the board, which you still are an ambassador. You won't ever not be, just because of you come to everything. Mm-hmm. And you do it, again, not to promote your business, but to promote our community.
Correct.
As a whole. And that is contagious.
Absolutely.
And when everybody starts doing that, we all benefit. And it's just a really neat thing that I love to share about our ecosystem, our business ecosystem here, because it's because of people like you that are not afraid to say, come sit next to me.
Right.
Don't sit by yourself. Or let me introduce you. You said this was a great lead for you. Here's somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And their success is your success.
And I will say, you'll get business.
Yeah.
It comes. It flows. People remember you by your face, by your kindness, by helping them out in any way you can. I don't ask for the business. People come to me for the business. I'm going to be very honest with you.
And that's a unique thing in your industry. Mm-hmm. And, we're part of the greater Tampa Bay area. And so I know that most of the director of sales, DOS is what you guys call them, right?
Yes.
You guys are all friends.
Yes, absolutely. We do lunch.
You have to be. Mm-hmm. Because you're not in competition. We're not in competition with Tampa.
No.
We should be supporting
absolutely
them and all of the things they have. Visitors don't care about county lines.
They don't.
Or, whose money is what. No. Let's show them a good community.
Absolutely.
And so I love that you guys do that. And, the more we can teach that we're not in competition with each other.
I always say, you can't get 100% of the pie. I'd like to get 99% of the pie, but that never happens, But you can't. And, there's customers out there that prefer a different hotel. And I understand that because I'm the same way. Yeah. I wouldn't go stay maybe at a different hotel than one of my hotels. You know what I'm saying? So we understand that everybody has to pick and choose. So we do lunch once a month. We just kind of talk about what's going on. If we don't tell each other what business we have, because that's not what DOSs do, but we do have, if I'm full and I know that Bobby maybe down the street needs something, I'll pass it on to her and vice versa. We do that for everybody. Maybe something doesn't fit in my hotel, but the Hyatt, it'll fit.
Yeah.
I'll pass it on to them. So.
And again, that just makes me happy with the collaboration throughout the community. So as you are rounding out your year of being the president of the Wesley Chapel Rotary,
yes,
what is one lesson or one surprise or one thing you're going to take away from that experience?
Sure. Leadership, lots of leadership, different personalities, strong group, very strong group. Learned a lot on how to be a good leader. Definitely touched my heart on all of the what am I trying to say?
Projects.
The products that we did. Yeah. Not even service projects. Our service projects. We did so many service projects, and I listened to the members, and that's what they wanted to do this year. We did have a couple of events that we had to cancel, unfortunately, because of the hurricanes. But You know what? It brought us into more service projects. We collected 4 truckloads and put them in Spinner Law Firm's truck and brought them over to the other side of Pasco. So just little things like that. I'm proud to be at the end, proud of what I've done with the Rotary Club, met tons of friends that will be my friends forever. But yeah, just really proud.
That's so exciting. I know that you're ready to be. Every president at the end of their term is ready to roll on out into the sunset. But the Rotary Club of Wesley Chapel has been an integral part of this community, and you guys do great things, and we love partnering with you when we can.
Thanks.
On that. And for those of you that don't know, it meets on Wednesdays at Lexington Oaks.
Correct.
And it's at noon.
That is correct.
If you want to be a visitor, you can ask for Lisa.
Absolutely.
But do it in the next few weeks before she leaves as her presidency, and then she goes on vacay for a minute. Well, Lisa, it has been an honor walking this journey with you. I've been here 13 years. You've been alongside pretty much all of it.
Absolutely.
And it's been fun.
We've
cried together. We've laughed together. We've supported each other. And I look forward to continuing that in the future. And so if anybody wants and more information on how Lisa is the Energizer Bunny and how she does it, you can follow her on her Facebook and social media. It's exhausting sometimes watching you.
I get that a lot from people.
Do you?
I do.
How do you do it? How do you manage it? Do you have like a schedule?
I live off my calendar. I don't say no a lot. Yesterday, I will tell you, one of my clients asked me to come out and judge a line dancing event.
I saw that.
And I was like, I don't know anything. This New Yorker doesn't know anything about line dancing, but it'll be fun. And I went out there and dressed even with the cowboy boots.
I saw the boots on yesterday.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so don't say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Be open to experiences. Be open to conversations like this, and you never know where it'll go.
It doesn't hurt that the numbers are there for the hotel, that they let me do it.
Yes.
And I will be honest with you, my general manager is amazing. We have a great talk about partnership and relationship. He likes to stay in, and I like to go out. It's perfect.
You got to have one anchor at the office, and then the butterfly to come back and make sure everything's good and happening.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yep.
Lisa, I look forward to watching your continued success, and thank you for being on Chamber Chatter in our Emery's Rock Realty studio.
Thank you
here
so
at the
much. I
Chamber.
appreciate it.
All right, sweetie, we'll see you soon.
All righty. Have a good day.